Oh hey you guys, welcome to a new episode of My 2 Yens, a show where I review any specific media and give it my 2 yens worth. For the month of September, I want to do something special. I want to devote this month to a specific gaming franchise and make a theme month out of it, and that franchise being the Megaman series. I am a huge fan of Mega Man, and I would love to devote a month for him, because it says so here in these rules. I have to make a theme month. Now, why September? Well, September is the 9th month of the year, and to the fans' disappointment of never getting Mega Man X9, I want all of you to feel my pain by celebrating this month with Mega Man. Now, you ask yourself, why review a game that almost everybody talked about? It's one of the most notable and beloved games of all time. Why do we have to listen to you talk about it? But you didn't hear it from me, so we're doing it anyways! Megaman X, or it's known in Japan as Rockman X, is a side-scrolling run-and-gun made by Capcom with the help of KJ Inafune and released on the SNES on December 17, 1993. It is a spin-off of the original Mega Man series set 100 years after it with a darker tone and a new cast of characters. The game was a massive hit and jump-started a whole set of sequels and spin-offs and a very, very convoluted timeline. More on that in future videos. So, let's bring out my 2 yens and see if this game's still a joy to play. The game starts up with a boot up screen of some software. This is to imply that this is the boot up screen of Mega Man X's capsule that he was inside of and how we're introduced to him. Basically, X was created by Dr. Thomas Light, the same doctor from the original game. He created X as an android that is capable of conveying human emotions and stored him until he was ready, as he needed time to fully install. A century passed, and in the year 20XX, he was found by an archaeologist named Kane and took X's blueprints to create replicas of X called Reploids. X was able to boot up and became a part of this new life. For unknown reasons, some Reploids began to act strange and attacked humans, being labeled Mavericks. They are led by ex-Maverick hunter Sigma, who turned rogue. X, being a pacifist, didn't want to involve himself in this, but decided to stop the Mavericks from destroying humanity. X joined the Maverick Hunters and set out to stop Sigma and the Mavericks. We begin the game in a destroyed highway as a tutorial to get to know how X plays out. You make your way to the end of the intro stage to see one of the Mavericks, Vile, as he taunts you and begins to pummel your ass. There is no point in trying to defeat him, as this is a losing battle, so just let him beat the crap out of you to trigger the cutscene of X being saved in the last second by... Move out of the way, loser! It's Zero! I was the one that saved the Maverick. Shh. It doesn't concern you anymore. That doesn't concern... It's my game! I'm the focus of all of my games! We'll see about that. We see Zero save X and tell him that he needs to be stronger in order to defeat the Mavericks. They both head back to their base, and the game then lets you decide to take on the Mavericks. After finishing the stages and defeating the Mavericks, we see another cutscene of X and Zero pinpointing the hideout of Sigma and plan how to strike him. When arriving at the castle, you make your way to see Vile waiting to ambush you. Zero heads first to fend him off, and you follow them only for Zero to get trapped, and X had to deal with Vile's bashing once more. This is just like the first encounter, as you have to let him defeat you in order to trigger another cutscene. Zero comes into the rescue yet again, and this time sacrifices himself to get rid of the battle armor. When all hope is lost, with the power of plot armor, you are instantly healed and finally able to finish off Vile once and for all. We see Zero laying there on the ground. Zero, no! Come on, buddy, you can still make it. We'll patch you up real good, man. I don't think I can make it. You got to go on without me. Zero, Zero? Zero? No! Get the fuck away from me! No! Zero says his final words, and you have to continue on the journey alone. You make your way to the final room of the castle where you finally encounter Sigma. One villain monologue later, you fight against him and his pet wolf Velgarder, defeat Sigma and save the world. It seems like a simple story to understand, but here's the problem. There are a lot of things that I said that aren't even mentioned in the game. The mention of Cain and how he was able to dig up X and create the Reploids. The sudden change of said Reploids to Mavericks. Sigma being a leader of the Hunters and suddenly turning into a Maverick himself, and some more. All of this information was provided via outside official sources from other sequels and comics or / mangas or any other thing that is not in this game. What the story lacks is context. What happened to the original Mega Man? How did Cain find X and how he was able to create the Reploids? How and why did Sigma and the other Mavericks turn evil? And why is Vile such a fucking douchebag? It feels like they came up with the gameplay aspect and idea first and decided to focus on the story later, and then they ran out of time and released it as is. While it's not a bad story per se, there are a lot of gaps and holes in the plot. Even Sigma, the final boss of the game, is only mentioned like 2 or 3 times in a dialogue box, and you only see him at the final battle, which makes the build-up of the villain kinda lackluster, cause if you skip the cutscenes, you wouldn't even know who the hell he was. You only have this stupid-ass mugshot of his face to identify him. Vile feels more like a better villain as you encounter him more than Sigma, and you even see the progression and struggle of X as he defeats Vile. While it's true that the game is viewed from X's perspective, and you get to see him improve as a character and as the savior of Reploids, the bits of information that is provided only affects the grand scheme of things. X defeats the Mavericks. I would have loved to see more of the bosses and side characters flesh out to give more meaning and purpose to the story, but you can't find that here. A solution to this is when they remade the game Mega Man Maverick Hunter X on the PSP, you can actually interact with the Mavericks and hear tidbits of their stories and personalities. The PSP remake even has an OVA special called The Day of Sigma that expands and fully explains the story and sets off the game. I'll eventually review this game, but for now, we're stuck with the original, and it has a lot of plot holes. While I adore this game, and it is one of my favorite games of all time, I can't seem to look away from this issue. So, this gets a bad coin. Megaman X, or the X series, are side-scrolling action platformers, or as a better term for them being the run and gun. It means that you run from point A to point B, fending off enemies in front of you with your trusty gun or lemon shooter or buster. The formula is simple and engaging, and it's the same as the original, where you choose a stage to defeat its boss, the Robot Masters, or in this case the Mavericks, make your way defeating the enemies while traversing in a couple of platforming sections until you reach the boss and fight him, rinse, and repeat. There's nothing more to say about that. If you ever seen a Mega Man game, it's a Mega Man game, and seeing that it's a spin-off of the original, they made sure that this game stays true to that. You run, jump, dash, and shoot like the original. You have a normal shot, and you can charge up the shot levels to make 2 more powerful shots, like the original. When defeating a boss, you acquire their weapon as a power-up to use it to better your chances with the enemies and go through tricky platforming sections and even through secret areas, like the original. The game has the mentality of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's true. If the game formula works, and people liked it and provided more sales, then sticking to it seems like a grand slam. As part of every Mega Man game, power-ups can be used to exploit a box's weakness and help you out in platforming sections. let me tell you what each power does. Cause there's gonna be a lot of them, and it's always fun to talk about power-ups and crap on them. The Shotgun Ice from Chill Penguin shoots an ice shard that, when hitting a surface, bounces off and ricochets into smaller shards in the opposite direction. When charged, you create a penguin-shaped sled that you can use to ride with it. The Electric Spark from Spark Mandrill. When shot and if the spark hits a wall or an enemy, it splits in half and travels up and down the surface it contacts. When charged, a pair of spark columns fire horizontally in front and behind of X. The Rolling Shield from Armored Armadillo shoots a blue sphere of energy that rolls along the terrain and bounces off walls. When charged, a shield is created around X, which both guards X and hits enemies. You cannot, however, shoot a regular blue sphere when using the armor. The Homing Torpedo from Launch Octopus shoots homing missiles at enemies, and when charged, fires 4 faster missiles at enemies. The Boomerang Cutter from Boomer Kuwanger. Fuck Boomer Kuwanger! Fire crescent-shaped boomerangs that fly in a short arc before returning to X. They will arc upwards if X is standing and downwards if he is in the air. The boomerang cutters can be used to grab faraway items. When charged, 4 crescent boomerangs fly out diagonally from X's position. The Chameleon Sting from Sting Chameleon. Wow. Shoots a green beam that splits into 3 shortly after being fired. When charged, X's armor changes color and becomes invincible for a brief period of time. You cannot use the Chameleon Sting when using the invincibility. The Storm Tornado from Storm Eagle shoots a horizontal tornado that remains on the screen for several moments and hits multiple enemies at the same time. When charged, you send out a vertical hurricane from where X is standing. The Fire Wave from Flame Mammoth. Fire a constant flamethrower as you hold the fire button. When charged, X will shoot a wave of fire that moves to the other side of the screen. Since we mentioned the power-ups that the bosses give you, let's talk about the bosses and basically my order of how I defeated them. Chill Penguin. He slides around and makes ice copies of himself. He sometimes clings on to the roof and sends a blizzard towards you. Just beat him with the X-Buster since he isn't that hard to beat anyways. Also, finish him first since you get the leg part as you play the stage. Don't care what other walkthroughs or strategies say, get the leg part! You can dash to avoid his attacks. Flame Mammoth. He jumps around and shakes the ground. Make sure you jump, otherwise you flinch. He also shoots fire sparks and oil puddles, and if they touch each other, they will make a fire pillar. The boss stage has a conveyor belt that can be annoying to get away from the fire. Not that hard to beat, it just takes a lot of time. Apparently, using the boomerang cutter can cut off his nose. Didn't do it because I decided to do the Boomer Kuwanger stage later. You'll know why. Storm Eagle. He can flap his wings and shoots his Storm Tornado at you. While it doesn't do any damage, it will push you off to the cliff and kill you. That's why the leg part is needed. He also flies into the air and dives at you. Just dash at the opposite side to dodge him. He also barfs out small birds that annoy you. Ew. A normal X-Buster does the trick. Spark Mandrill. He should punch X if he's near him. He also should use a dash punch to shorten the distance between him and X. Spark Mandrill should climb to the ceiling using the rails and move to where X is located and drop on him. I say should because I didn't see him do any of that, because I just spammed his weakness, the Shotgun Ice, where it instantly freezes him. I even intentionally shot the opposite direction to freeze him for maximum disrespect. Armored Armadillo. Hope you like to wait for your turn to play, cause he won't give you any. He blocks all attacks and you can shoot at him when he's firing back. Not to mention, he curls up into a ball and bash around to annoy you even more. He also has an armor that blocks his damage. The electric spark removes it, and now we play the waiting game, as you need to be patient enough to slowly chip off his health. Launch Octopus. He will shoot out his rockets and occasionally homing fish missiles as you try to evade him. He also creates a vortex that sucks you in and is momentarily invincible. Apparently, using the boomerang cutters stops him from using the vortex, but I didn't have them yet, so a little bit of patience and he is done with. Boomer Kuwanger. Fuck Boomer Kuwanger! This Jiminy crackhead looking motherfucker teleports around the stage and throws his boomerangs at me, and if he is near X, he lunges you to the ceiling, and he takes an eternity to kill, even more than Armored Armadillo. I tried to defeat him before the others, but he was a fucking bitch. I just postponed his fight until I got the homing torpedoes and just finished him off. Sting Chameleon. He can turn himself invisible and you can see him as he makes a distortion in the wall for you to attack him. He can lunge his tongue at you and if he is near or shoots his chameleon sting from a distance. He can also drop spikes on top of X. He can be easily defeated with a boomerang cutter. What's with these bosses being affected by the one weapon that I did not get yet? Hey, if it looks like a Mega Man game and acts like a Mega Man game, then it's most definitely a Mega Man game. The formula is fun and it's something we're all used to, and like I said before, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. While yes, it is a Mega Man game, there are a few things that stand out from its original version. While the dash or slide has been a staple in the original since Mega Man 3, and true, Mega Man X improved upon the dash mechanic by giving it improved speed and momentum, as well as the ability to jump mid-dash and attack while dashing, the game also introduced a new staple, the wall jump. This means, as the name suggests, you can now wall jump, which is nice because it adds a new layer of platforming and strategy to gameplay. Almost all levels require you to use the wall jump, and you can use that to your advantage sometimes when fighting the Mavericks. Now, the main aspect of every Mega Man X has to be the armor pieces and how they are an important staple in the X series. Armor pieces are pieces of equipment X can get by finding a light capsule hidden in the stages. These capsules have a recorded message from Dr. Light that explains the armor pieces, and there are 4 capsules to find. Each armor piece gives a new power to X. The leg part, this gives X the ability to dash and is literally on the main path in Chill Penguin stage, so you can't really miss it. Get this first, as this will hugely help you out in the other stages, and you can get the other parts with it. The head part, this can let X crush boulders on top of him and can deflect any falling rocks. You can get this in Storm Eagle's stage after you destroy the flame canisters with the fire wave. The arm parts gives X access to the final level of his chart shot, the Spiral Crush, as well as the use of the charred versions of the power-ups. You need to first get the head and leg parts to do some tricky platforming in order to get it in Flame Mammoth's stage. Also, if you did not get the arm parts until you defeat Vile, Zero will hand you over his Z-Buster, which deals more damage than the arm part. The body part basically halves the damage that X takes. You can get this as soon as you acquire the leg part, but you have to defeat this annoying mini-boss that takes a while to kill just to get that part in Sting Chameleon stage. Once you get all the parts, you have the first armor, or Armor of Light. You can't revert back to the base form, which I believe is a good thing, since why go back to the weaker version? Unless you're a masochist. I actually like collecting the armor pieces and seeing what the full armor is capable of, and it's always nice to see the progress of your character and the rewards that you can get. One other feature that I really liked is revolving around which order you finish the stages, where, based on your actions, changes the stages completely for you. A good example is by defeating Chill Penguin first, you can affect Flame Mammoth's stage where all of the lava that is in the stage suddenly freezes, or when defeating Storm Eagle results in his airship falling down and crashing onto Spark Mandrill's stage, stopping the electricity inside the power plant. This is a great inclusion as it shows you the outcome of your adventure and progression to stop the Mavericks. I just hope that the other games continue on with this approach, but I guess we will see that when we review them. Overall, these are amazing features and it deserves a good coin. While true, there are games that probably look better than this in the console, but to me, this game stood the test of time. This game looks really amazing and shows with the jump from the 8-bit to 16-bit. The colors are vibrant and pixel design is crisp, and I didn't see any breaks in the game. And trust me, games around that era were god-awful. More on that in future reviews. With Megaman X, instead of having the robot masters consist of either a type or occupation, in the original like Cut Man, Flame Man, Guts Man, or Something Man, or Elemental Man, they made the same, but with animals and plants, like Chill Penguin, Storm Eagle, and Launch Octopus. Basically, something animal/plant. Apparently, as we improve with our technologies, we decided that our robots should revert back to animals, like a reverse Darwinism? To be honest, I like this more than the original, as it gives more room and leeway to be more creative with their designs. For the first couple of games, that is. We will discuss that when that day comes. The character designs and bosses are all iconic. While the PSP remake did update their design, future installments stay true to it. X and Zero's models look amazing, as well as the enemies and the bosses. I especially like their designs, though some of them do kinda fall flat. Specifically the castle bosses at the end of the game. Each level has its own distinct boss encounter. While they are nice, they're kinda forgettable. Everyone remembers the Mavericks because of their simple and memorable design. Those don't. The final boss was also amazing, though I don't know why they decided to go with this as the final form of Sigma. Instead of his iconic base form, he becomes Wolf Sigma? Still a visually appealing and challenging boss, but a weird pick for a final one. The scenes in this game feels like you are roaming around the world and defeating the Mavericks. You have the generic staples like a fire level, a jungle level, a water level, an ice level, and a fuck you level. Fuck Boomer Kawanger! The level designs adds a nice touch to the experience. You know what else adds to the experience? These fucker bangers soundtracks! From the intro stage, to Storm Eagle, to Spark Mandrill, to Armored Armadillo, and even Boomer Kawanger. Fuck Boomer Kawanger, but the soundtrack is a banger! These are some of the best soundtracks I have ever heard in a video game. Capcom knows how to make them when it's in the right hands of the talented Setsou Yamamoto. The The soundtracks alone are more than enough reason to give it a good coin. So, we finished one of the levels and defeated its Maverick. Is that it? Actually, no! What is great about this game is that you can still replay the finished levels to find the hidden sub-tanks and heart pieces as well as the armor pieces. There is replayability! Which is great since games of that era lack that feature. When re-entering a level, you can look around for these hidden places using your newly acquired power-ups or skills, like using the leg part and fire wave to get both the heart piece and the head part respectively in Storm Eagle's stage, and using the boomerang cutter to get the hard to reach items in multiple stages. It is a great approach as you have to experiment in order to reach these hidden items, but it's kind of a public knowledge now with the internet, but back then, it was a complete mystery and you have to ask your friends as how they got it or from a video game magazine guide. Oh, yeah. You remember those? God, I'm old. Another reason for you to get all the hidden items and parts is for the 100% completion bonus. The Hadouken. Yes, it is a Capcom game. What do you expect? While I am not a completionist like the other YouTubers out there, this is something I recommend you to get and we'll talk about. When getting all of the heart pieces and sub-tanks as well as the armor, you need to go to Armored Armadillo's stage and make your way before the boss gate where you are at the cart and it lunges you into the air. Before it falls off, make a leap of faith and you should land at this platform here with a energy capsule. You need to fall off to your death and repeat this 4 times, and on your 5th attempt, you will see a light capsule there instead of the energy capsule. Here, you see Dr. Light is wearing the same gi that Ryu wears in Street Fighter. Cute. Enter the capsule and you learn the Hadouken. In order to perform it, you need to be at full health and you need to input the same Hadouken commands in Street Fighter. It is a very powerful attack as it insta-kills anything it touches, except for Wolf Sigma. The only caveat is you need to be standing still to input the command while dodging the enemy's attacks. And if you take any damage, you can't use that until you are fully healed. It's more of a completion bonus than a requirement to finish the game, but a very nice bonus, plus X even says Hadouken and it's so fucking cute. While I did like the game and its features, I didn't like the password system. They basically don't use any save system, and instead they use the same password system like they did in the originals. While it makes the game size smaller for the cartridge, it seems like it was a wasted opportunity to not include a save system, since older games have a save system and some of them are even smaller than this game. I get it that they thought of this idea as to get the password and continue on where you left off at a different console and share your saves with your friends, but if you checked online or even in old magazines, there were some codes that just finishes the game for you and it doesn't feel like you've earned this accomplishment. But there's no use complaining about it since it was used again for both X2 and X3. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. After defeating Fursona Sigma, you see his castle tumbling down on the horizon. X begins to contemplate on the entire journey on the loss of his comrade Zero. I can hold it. I can hold it. I'm strong. X thinks to himself if there was any way to solve this conflict without fighting. It's gonna be a running gag. Get used to it. Then the game's credit rolls, and then we are greeted with an after-credits scene of Sigma telling us that this isn't the end and we only defeated a temporary body of Sigma and that there will be more to come, hinting the other sequels in which he does not disappoint in that promise. And that was Megaman X. I gotta tell you guys, it's really nice coming back to this game. It's like a nice trip down memory lane where everything was simple and enjoyable. too bad they screwed it up in the other sequels.
Oh, splendid! Even better than expected.
How long must this madness go on?
Let me ask you, how long has this madness been going on?
But for now, as the first installment of the Megaman X series, I give this my final rating of Yoy! Like I said, you can't find any better than this for a Megaman X game. Well, some will be as close to being as good as this. More on that in the future. This game is a masterpiece, and I recommend you guys to complete it. But if you want to enjoy the game and have a coherent story, play the PSP version since it gives you more backstories to the villains, and you can even play as Vile and see his douchey ass perspective. I will one day review that, but we have these sequels to work with first. So until then, see you all in the next My 2 Yens review.